All right, hey there, class. This video, I'm going to go ahead and go back a little bit and just reinforce some of the methods that we're going to use for modeling and for aligning and measuring, adding dimensions into a model as we go through, just to sort of reinforce some of the things that you're going to want to use over and over again. And then we're going to move into doors. And then, as with last time, we'll start looking at some of the custom doors in Center City to go along with some of the door, or to go along with some of the techniques we used in this video. So this is an example file I wanted to sort of use from one of your submittals that used the technique here, the equal to do the door frame, but didn't use the same measurement technique to actually define the offices. So you can see how John Nelson gets a much nicer office than some of the others as you go. I guess it's down the first floor, not the second floor. Anyway, some of the offices are way off in terms of their dimensions, and these center walls aren't actually aligned with the dimension, or excuse me, with the grid line moving through it. So I'm going to start here on this end and just talk about how we might adjust these things. So you can see each office should be 9 feet wide, including this one. Those dimensions, that 9 foot is 9 foot on center, so from center to center of the wall. This one is 8'8", but you can see how it's actually just going to the face of this exterior wall. Basically, so it's still a 9 foot center to center, but the dimension is just written to the inside of that. So I'm going to go to the Modify tab and use the Measure tool here. And so I'm going to first put a measurement on this office, and you can see how it wants to snap to the center line of this wall. And again, the dimension is for the inside face. So I'm going to hit the Tab key until it actually selects the face of that wall, and pull it up, and you can see how far off it is. Once I've got the measurement in the model, then I need to go back and select the object that I want to move in order to adjust this dimension. So I'm going to select this exterior wall and then select the measurement, and here's now where I can type in 8'8" to get that measurement correct. Now you can see the next step here is that this wall needs to be centered on the grid line. So with this one, I'm just going to hit move, snap it to that. I've still got the constraints on this opening. So in this case, I'm going to hold the control key and select the relevant pieces, which is basically this U-shaped set of walls. I want that constraint to stay the same. And now I'll go back to the move tool and grab that and move it across. And you can see again that shifted my measurement. If I come back here and select this measurement and lock it, and do that all once again, this time holding control, selecting each of the walls, hitting move, and snapping that center to center, that dimension stays the same. It's going to move all the walls, all these objects further out in order to get this one centered. Those sort of techniques you're going to want to pay careful attention to, and you're going to want to use, because you're going to be using them really often, I should say. So I'll just go down the line, sort of repeating the same move. Again, hitting the measure button, selecting the grid line, the center line between the offices, and then the next grid line. You can see how these are off. I click one more time to sort of finish that. This wall again is off out here. I want to adjust that first. So again, holding the control key, selecting this U profile, and just centering this onto the grid line. Now that that's adjusted, and I know that these two walls are correct, this is the one that's probably incorrect. So I'll hit the Modify button, select the wall. Once the wall is selected, I've indicated which one I want to move. Now I can type in a 9 foot dimension. You can see they both snap into place. And again, I can always come in here if I want and select them and lock those dimensions so that those walls are always fixed to that width. It's a lot like hitting the equal, putting constraints on the objects. One more time, this wall, we need to move first to move it onto the center, and I want to maintain the connection. Holding control, gonna select those, and then snap this wall. Try that again. Holding control, select all these, hit the move button, move center line of that wall over to my grid line. And then one more time the measurement from the grid line to the center to this guy, and I can finish it, keep them all in alignment, select the wall that I want to move, and type in the dimension, 9 foot. Again, I could select the dimension if I want and lock it. Last one here. This time, this wall 2A we haven't modeled yet, but we can still bring some of this other stuff across. So if I want to drag a wall, I can select this wall across the face and grab the little blue dot and bring it over and snap it to the next grid line. I also want to go back and draw another wall in here to finish off this piece. So I'm going to hit the wall button. This is still type 2. And snap it to there. And one more time I'll define the dimension. Modify tab, measure, grid line, center line, grid line. You can see I'm off by 6 inches here. Again, going to select this one in the middle and hit 9 foot. And if I want, I can lock it once more. Constrain all that. Alright, so now you can see we've got all our dimensions constrained. These guys all have equal equals on them, so they're constrained. So all of my horizontal moves are in the correct locations now. Now the question is are all of my verticals are in the correct location. And now I want to look at these horizontals and see if they're actually in the right position. So the first thing to use is the align tool. So the align tool here is going to basically allow you to align all these faces. And the align tool works basically by clicking them, and then you can lock them together once again. So I can kind of come along here and create a series of locked relationships between each of them. And I can do the same for each of these guys to ensure that they're all locked. And these are basically like geometric relationships that you're snapping into place in order to ensure that the system is correct. Okay, now that we've done all that, once we've got one side of this working, then we can mirror it all the way across. So that's actually what I'm going to do. Instead of fixing this side, you can see how there I started dragging to select, and it actually dragged the drawing. I'm going to hit undo. If I want to constrain this, well, first thing I might do is just make some adjustments to the location of it now to get it a little bit closer to where it should be. But I can select it and hit the little pin up here in the top row, and that's going to pin it down so that it no longer can move. And now I'm going to go through and I can select all of this. All these walls. I'm just going to get rid of them. I accidentally selected the grid line. I'm going to hold the shift key, which does a negative or a subtraction from my selection set. And just hit delete to get rid of those. Now I can come over and select all these guys, and I'm going to use the mirror tool to mirror them all across. Alright, right-clicked on the image itself, and I told it to hide in view there, so that way I can draw a box across, and I know that I just want to mirror across this line. And if it can't find a reference, then it won't snap those. And then I can right-click again. To restore the down here to restore the elements, you can close reveal hidden elements, and I could have used the temporary button in order to actually see them. Just going to pause this while I get a couple. Okay, I've got the architectural select sheets PDF open here. And what page I'm on page 6, and what I've opened here is the door schedule for stores, which basically is going to designate the size and spec for each of the doors in the building. So I'm going to zoom in here as best I can and scroll down. A lot of the offices start around in the 130s to 140s. And so what you can see here, for instance, is like all of these rooms are going to be offices, 141, 142. They have door schedule or number A or type A, excuse me, and the dimension for that is 3 foot by 7 foot 10, which is relatively typical. So although no, it's not. It's relatively typical for the 3 foot opening. The 7 foot 10 is quite high for a door. Typically, they're going to be at like 6'8" in residential, maybe 7 foot in a commercial project. So 710 is quite asymmetrical. It's again linked to Gwathmey's desire to have everything on the 8-inch module. So even when you look at the doors and the door frames, they all align with the CMU in the building. So this door type is what we're going to start to adjust for. And what you can see here is, again, if I look at Office 123, say, sorry, my wife's watching soccer. So the 123 here has type A, and it's 3 foot by 7 foot 10. And these are going to be that first row of offices, and then the ones we're looking at down here that start at 140 are the second row of offices. Again, all the same. So what we can do is come here to the architecture tab and open up the door tab. And again, here's your default door that comes up. So again, this is architecture and doors. And the default door type is 36 by 48. So as per usual, we're going to have to come in here and hit edit type. All of the parameters for doors are predefined as dimensions all the way through here. The door thickness is 2 inches. The height in this case is 7 foot 10. But before we start adjusting any of these things, of course, we need to duplicate, just like we were with all the wall types. We need to come in and do the same thing here with the door type. So we're adjusting. We're making a new version of the family that we can use here. So ours is going to be 94 inches tall and 36 inches wide, and I'm going to put type A in here at the beginning, 36 by 94. The rest of these dimensions should work because the way that a door inserts into the wall is that it extrudes the frame to match the thickness of the wall. So this 36 by 94 should work at this point. The other thing, though, that we may want to do in here is actually adjust the color and tone. So here under door material and frame material, I might select the door panel and come in here, and this is an instance where these materials are going to be pervasive throughout the model that we've got, and in this case it's this kind of wood tone. Obviously in stores the wood tone is not typical, so what I'm going to do is find that kind of grayish beige that's typical throughout the building. That got a little too green. Maybe come down here more towards black and white. There we go. And just define that as my new color. So it's actually RGB 222-222-222 is the one that I've set. Don't worry about it if you don't match that perfectly. But I am going to reference that because I want to change the frame to match the same color. Again, I can kind of come down here. Let's see if I can get it close to the same. I can type in 222, 222 under the RGB values. And hit OK. And again, those materials, now that we've adjusted them, aren't just in this family. They're going to be adjusted throughout the entire model into that color. Another way to look at this is to hit the little preview button down here in the bottom left side of the family edit. And here you can see what's actually going on, which is the door and the frame dimensions, and then just a wall for it to be pre-inserted into. I'm going to hit OK, and now we can come along here, and you can see it automatically starts showing you where the door is going, and as you mouse from one side to the other of the wall, it's going to infer that you want that door to go to the inside or the outside of the office, and then you can hit the space bar to flip the direction that it's going. And again here, you're going to want to place it and then come back and put a dimension on it in order to get it in the right spot. So it looks like it needs to, the edge of that door needs to be 5 feet from that grid line. So I'm going to again use the measure tool to go from the center of that wall to the edge of that door, and you can see here it's actually set to 6'1". That doesn't sound correct, so I'm going to select the door and then type in 5 feet. As the location. Same thing here. So we've got this 8-foot dimension from this line that comes out to the edge of the wall, and the door, it looks like that's 8 inches. The door 3'4", including the frame. So that's going to mean that it's 4 foot minus 3'4" would mean it's 8 inches from the center line of this edge. So again, I'll go ahead and put a door in, hit the space bar to get it the right orientation first, and then I'm going to use the measure tool from this side of the door to the center line to get a dimension. I'm going to pull it up here where we can see it. Select the door so that I can move it, and then type in my 8-inch distance. Once that one's in place, now I can actually go ahead and mirror these across the grid line. I'm going to select the door, hit mirror, select the grid line, and it snaps across to the right dimension. Next thing I can do is hold Control, and I can actually copy these across from grid line to grid line. And do it again. Select the 2 doors, hit copy, grid line to grid line, and I'm good. Once again, then I can select all of these and hit mirror and mirror them across on this grid line into the other set of offices. You can see everything snaps right into place, just as it should, because we had already copied this whole entire set of walls all the way across the model. So now you should be set. What I'd like for you to do, just to help reinforce this, is to come through and model. You can see here wall type 2 everywhere in these crit rooms. So using some of the alignment techniques to mirror across the salon, and then to mirror across, again, these crit rooms are going to be symmetrical. Model in the crit rooms, you're going to see here that you've got door type A. Again, it's 3'4" to the frame, right? But the door itself is 3 foot by 7'10". Over here, we've got door type B in crit room 174. So quickly, we'll pop back out to the door schedule. I'm going to go find 174. Here's 174. Door type B is also 3 foot by 7'10". So it's going to be the same thing. So you can either create a new version. It looks like what it's got is a different kind of fireproofing on that door. So go ahead and model up those crit rooms on the bottom side of the salon on the first floor, just to help reinforce some of these techniques, and be sure to be as accurate as you can to each of the grid lines. It's not just about sort of getting all the drawing in there, but it needs to be accurate so that you can model off of it later on. And then get type B made, which is a copy of type A, and then get those doors put in as well. Next, we'll be coming back and starting to model in the different window types for Thursday. All right, thanks.